Hello children. Today I will be explaining you all a new chapter in history. Chapter number 2, Sources of History. Sources means from where we are getting the information about ancient history. History can also be learned through customs and traditions, folk arts, folk literature, as well as historical documents. All these are known as sources of history. For example, ornaments, pots made in the ancient period. So now there are three types of sources. First is material sources, written sources, and oral sources. So first we are going to study what is material sources. Material sources. Man uses a variety of things in his day-to-day life. They are known as artifacts. Artifacts used by human in the past provide us valuable information about life in the ancient times. We can decide the period of ancient artifacts like earthen pots by studying the shape, color, and designs on the ancient potsherd. The ornaments and other artifacts throw light on social interaction. You can see the pots. We get information about the diet of a people from the remains of the food grains, seeds, and bones of animals found in excavations which are buried in the earth. Also, we can find the remains of houses and buildings built in different historical periods. We also find ancient coins and seals. All this gives us information about human activities in the past. All such artifacts, articles, monuments, or their ruins are called the material sources of history. Written sources. The Stone Age people have recorded many events and expressed their emotions in paintings on rocks. It was also after thousands of years that man learned the art of writing. That means earlier people they were not having any knowledge of writing. In the beginning, humans used symbols and signs to record their thoughts and ideas. However, it took thousands of years for a script to develop from these. In the beginning, man wrote on potsherds, unbaked bricks using pointed objects. He also used birch burja, tree bark to write on. Nowadays, birch tree are found in Kashmir. As his experience and knowledge increased, he began to write in different ways, like how nowadays we are writing in the notebooks, we have papers. He began to record the events that took place around him. Accounts of the proceedings of royal courts were also written systematically. Many rulers had their orders, judicial decisions, donations, etc., inscribed on stone or copper plates. You can see the picture of copper plates. Over a period of time, many forms of literature developed. They developed lots of languages. They included books on religious and social subjects, plays, poetry, travelogues, and scientific works. All this literature helps us to understand the history of the various historical periods. These sources are known as the written sources of history. Oral sources, OVs. Have you all heard about Ovis anytime? Panduranga Pita, Rukmani Majhi Baya, Ashad Variela, Pundalik Ala Nyaya. These are the words of Ovis. Folk folk songs, there are some lines from the folk songs. महानगरी उजनी लई पुण्यवान दानी तेथे नांदत होता राजा सुखी होती प्रजा तिन्ही लोक गाजावाजा असा उजनीचा इक्रम राजा. Folk tales and similar literature is passed on the form generation to generation by word of mouth. They were not written sources. These are called as only oral sources. They used to memorize all the OVs. This literature is not in the written form. Its authors are unknown. This type of literature, preserved by oral tradition forms, these are called as oral sources of history. Sources of ancient Indian history. The ancient period of Indian history extends from the Stone Age in the 8th century CE. We learn about the Stone Age period of Indian history through archaeological excavation. Archaeological excavation means where our ancestors is to live, like Harappan civilization. Since scripts had not developed at that time, no written sources are available. However, information about the ancient period from 1500 BCE onwards can be derived from Vedic literature. In the beginning, the Vedas were not in the written form. The ancient Indians had developed the technique of memorizing and reciting them. The Vedas were written down later on. The Vedas and the post Vedic literature form an important source of ancient Indian history. It includes the Brahmanas, the Upanishads, the epics Ramayana and Mahabharata, the Jain and Buddhist literature, plays, poems, stone and pillar inscriptions, travelogues of foreign travelers, etc. We also learn about ancient Indian history through material sources like archaeological remains, ancient monuments, and coins found in excavations. Precautions to be taken while writing history. It is necessary to take precautions while using these sources to write history. A written document cannot be said to be authentic just because it is old. It needs to be examined critically as to who wrote it, why, and when it was written. The conclusions drawn on the basis of various genuine documents have to be cross checked and corroborated with one another. Such a critical analysis is very important in the writing of history. So, children, here are some question answers and fill in the blanks. You have to write it and study all the question answers given in this slide. Thank you.